about who I would be. I was 13 years old, and being 13, having that type of exposure, yeah, it was cool to go to Howard Homecoming with Puff. It was great to be able to go to Club USA or the Supper Club, with Puffy in that time, or the Tunnel. But these are places that a 13-year-old probably should not be.
You know, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody.
Fame often paints a picture of luxury, admiration, and success. But behind the scenes, particularly for those who began their careers as young performers, the reality can be disturbingly different. Justin Bieber has come forward to share what he lived through during his early years and what he saw happening to others. He's not just revealing his personal experience, but also shedding light on what another young star, Usher, endured during his rise to fame. With serious allegations and legal trouble now surrounding Diddy, previously ignored stories and unresolved trauma are now being re-examined in a new, more serious light. Bieber recently opened up about the darker side of the music industry, describing his early years as being filled with pressure, manipulation, and a constant sense of being under someone else's control. He explained that it wasn't just his story. He watched similar treatment directed at Usher, a performer Bieber looked up to from the very beginning. Studio sessions weren't just about recording music, they were spaces where young talent was pushed and shaped under intense emotional stress. He described being around major figures in the industry, including Diddy and Clive Davis, and witnessing firsthand how Usher was managed without care for his well-being. It wasn't traditional mentorship, Bieber noted. It was more about control and keeping artists in check to maximize profit. He made it clear that these experiences were not isolated, but part of a larger pattern that stretched across the industry. Usher himself has previously shared glimpses into his time as a teenage performer under Diddy's guidance. At the age of 13, he was brought into elite circles and taken to adult-themed events like college parties and exclusive clubs. These environments were far from appropriate for someone so young. Usher has stated that he wanted to build a music career, not get exposed to a world far beyond his years. He also recalled incidents where his desire to focus on music was brushed aside. Usher spoke about moments of tension and physical altercations with Diddy when he pushed too hard for studio time. He wanted to grow as an artist, but instead found himself sidelined, told to relax, and expected to conform. Diddy had labeled the experience Flavor Camp, describing it as a fun and educational experience. But for Usher, it was an overwhelming crash course in adult themes. At just 14, he moved in with Diddy in New York and found himself in situations that no teenager should have to navigate. Usher's past interviews include unsettling anecdotes, such as walking into rooms where inappropriate situations were happening that today are being taken more seriously. These moments were once played off as wild stories, but now serve as indicators of an unsafe environment. Now a father, Usher has openly said he would never let his own son go through what he did. He's been clear, he wouldn't send his child to a similar mentorship environment. His comments highlight just how damaging those years were and suggest there may still be more to the story that he hasn't publicly shared. There are also accounts from others that add more context. One well-known figure in hip-hop, Ed Lover, once mentioned seeing a young Usher drinking during a party with Diddy. While stories like these were once laughed off, they now appear to be clear warning signs of a troubling dynamic. Bieber has said that seeing how Usher was treated helped him recognize that his own experience wasn't an isolated case. The tactics used to shape and control him were part of a broader trend affecting others in the same industry space. His perspective gives new weight to stories that had long gone ignored. In 2023, a major turning point came when singer Cassie filed a lawsuit against Diddy. She accused him of repeated misconduct and creating environments that involve pressure, emotional control, and inappropriate scenarios. She described specific instances that raised serious ethical and legal concerns, including retaining content she wanted removed. Initially, many were skeptical of her claims, but over time, more people began to speak out in support of her. One of them was Diddy's former security team member, who had for years tried to speak up about what he witnessed. Though dismissed at the time, his statements now match Cassie's, giving her case further support. These events reveal a troubling pattern. What seemed at first like random accusations now appear to point to an ongoing issue of power being used inappropriately. Legal efforts are starting to uncover a larger framework of mismanagement and abuse in parts of the entertainment industry. Suge Knight, the co-founder of a major record label, made headlines during a prison interview when he made statements suggesting inappropriate closeness between Diddy and Usher. He described how others warned him not to approach Usher during that time, suggesting there was a deliberate effort to isolate and control. Knight also criticized high-profile artists who have stayed silent. He claimed he tried to mentor Usher early on, but was quickly told to back off. According to him, influence and control were tightly guarded, and anyone who questioned the system was pushed out. While Knight's background may cast doubt on his credibility for some, his remarks have gained renewed interest as they echo details shared by others. His commentary contributes to a narrative of behind-the-scenes control and silence enforced across the industry. Bieber's decision to come forward at this time adds significant weight to the ongoing public discussion. As one of the most recognized names in modern music, his perspective shines a light on practices that many had tried to dismiss or downplay. His willingness to speak now, while investigations are active and the spotlight is on, feels like a deliberate push toward change. This story is no longer just about one man facing accusations. It's about an entire system being examined for how it treated young, vulnerable artists. The entertainment world is starting to answer for years of ignoring warning signs and dismissing concerns. Those who have come forward, Bieber, Usher, Cassie, have changed the narrative. Their stories have become more than personal accounts. They've become a collective testimony, demanding accountability and reform. Their bravery is opening doors for others to share their truth. The legal battles now unfolding are more than a matter of justice for individual victims. They're a test of whether the industry will finally hold itself accountable. With each testimony and court filing, more of the hidden story comes into focus. For Usher, his journey now seems even more remarkable. He succeeded despite being thrust into a world he wasn't ready for. But instead of just being praised for his resilience, the spotlight is now also revealing just how much he had to overcome. Clips from past interviews are being watched with fresh eyes. Moments where Usher hinted at being uncomfortable or unsure about his early years are now being taken seriously. What once seemed like vague anecdotes are now recognized as signs of someone who had experienced more than they could say at the time. What's happening today marks a major shift. It's no longer enough to be quiet or look the other way. Artists, fans, and industry professionals are being called to rethink what's been accepted for too long. Silence and dismissal are no longer options. Justin Bieber's words act as a mirror and a warning. His story reflects what's happened to others and serves as a message that the time for change has arrived. What was once hidden is now exposed, and it's clear that the path forward must be different. This is a defining moment for the music industry. As more individuals speak up, and as the truth becomes harder to deny, the hope is that future generations won't have to endure the same harmful experiences. The call for reform is loud, and the world is finally listening.